I'm emotionally cheating on my husband with a woman from work. I, F31, am married to B, M33, and we've been together for more than 13 years. He's been my first in everything in life. In the beginning, our relationship was wonderful, and we've built a comfortable life together. I guess over the years things have become somewhat stagnant, but I just assumed that was the natural progression of marriage. Naturally, the next step we've been considering is children. We've not been actively trying, but we've also not been making an effort to prevent it. However, I am seriously considering going back on contraception because of a new relationship that has started developing, and this is where I need the advice. 6 months ago, a new woman started at my workplace, J, F30. She came in on a temporary role to cover a maternity leave. She quickly became popular with the team. She's very chatty, warm, and likable, and she fitted right in. We swiftly became very close friends. We hot desk at work, but I noticed whenever we are working together, she would always choose the closest desk to wherever I was, and vice versa. I began finding myself getting a bit more excited about going to work because I would get to see her. There is never a dull moment when we are together. We are always laughing, giggling, and just having fun. We have lunch together, have gone for after-work drinks together. She is just that best friend I've never had before. Even growing up, I was quite shy and always envied my little sister with her outgoing nature and large group of best friends. We also have a friendship outside of work. She invited me for a hike a few weeks ago and more since then. I have been longing to go hiking for so long, but B won't go with me. I asked him once for my birthday if we could take one hike. He said he would organize something. He didn't, and we ended up at the pub all day. When I asked when we were going for my birthday hike, he said he couldn't be bothered. On my birthday, since becoming friends with Jay, we have done lots of outdoor activities together, which I've always wanted to do, but was too shy or afraid to do alone. We exchange messages frequently and have confided in each other. I have shared with her that my relationship with B feels stagnant, that he doesn't want to engage in anything together, and if I suggest something new, he just says I can go without him. He only wants to drink at the pub, watch TV, or relax at home. I don't mind that occasionally, but I desire more. I enjoy being outdoors and staying active. I have confided in Jay that all the activities we are doing together are things I wish B would do with me. She has always extended the invitation, but he always declines. Obviously, as our friendship has grown stronger, I have learned more about Jay. She returned home after living in Australia for 2.5 years. She was in a significant relationship out there with another woman, K, 29. However, Jay had to return home because her father passed away suddenly. The breakup was difficult for Jay because she had to cope with her father's sudden death and end her relationship with K. I have found myself thinking about Jay more frequently and talking about her more often. One of my friends even joked that I have a crush on her. The small group I was with all laughed and agreed. I, of course, played it down and felt embarrassed because maybe I had talked about her too much, but it got me questioning myself. Do I have a crush on Jay? I find myself thinking about her often, feeling fluttery when heading to work, knowing I'll get to see her, or getting a bit giddy when we're going to meet up. I hug her a little longer when we see each other and when we say goodbye. I get excited when I see she has messaged me. I have even dreamed about her. A couple of weeks ago, it was my birthday. It fell on a Monday, so it wasn't a very exciting day, granted. I had already arranged with my parents to see them the following weekend for belated presents and cards. My husband was extremely busy Monday. He said he had a big meeting. Anyway, I didn't receive any acknowledgement, card, or text. I went to work, and Jay had already arrived, handing me a gift bag and card. Inside were some of my favorite chocolates from a handmade shop just down the road, which is well known, and I love, also not cheap, along with a few other very thoughtful and personalized little things that only someone who truly knows me would think to get. She even took me to lunch and got me a little cake from my favorite bakery. I didn't tell her about my husband, but when she asked about his and my plans for the evening, I didn't know what to say. I made an excuse and moved on. When I drove home that night, a small part of me had built up the expectation that perhaps he had arranged something special for when I got home, maybe even a surprise party. I had even foolishly convinced myself this was the case, to the point where I was genuinely excited. When I walked through the door, nothing, not a single thing. He was lazing in front of the TV, drinking a beer. He even had the audacity to say, "You're a bit late, aren't you? What are we having for dinner?" Meaning, what are you going to make? I told him, forget it, I'm going out. He turned to look at me and was so annoyed, saying he'd had the worst day at work and was starving. I didn't say a thing, just got in my car and drove off. I drove straight to Jay's. Needless to say, she was very surprised when I showed up, but welcomed me with open arms. We cracked open a bottle of wine, she ordered takeout, and she got a few laughs out of me once I had calmed down. She didn't say a bad word about my husband, just listened. My phone started blowing up. My husband, apologies. The penny had finally dropped. My mom was also calling, so I put 2 and 2 together and realized she had reminded him what day it was. The rest of the week, I was flooded with flowers and gifts from my husband. His way of apologizing. Offers to do the things I enjoy doing. The works. We spent the weekend at my parents' place to commemorate my belated birthday, but his actions felt artificial and uncomfortable. Eventually, the topic of children came up. My husband cheerfully announced it shouldn't be long and winked at everyone around the table. I felt nauseous, and now here I am. I realize I am already emotionally cheating on my husband with Jay, and I don't even regret it. The more I ponder over it, the more I understand how neglectful he has been towards me, how I strive to please him, make him feel important, sacrifices I've made to ensure his happiness and worth, and I've received nothing in return for literal years. Within a few months, Jay has made me feel more special and desired than he has in the past 5 years, and without even trying, I think. And if I am being truthful, yes, I do have a crush on her. She genuinely gives me butterflies and a giddy excitement I have never experienced in my life. I find myself thinking about her, missing her when I'm not with her. I feel insane for feeling this way, but I have never felt like this about anyone ever. I don't know what to do, Reddit. Even if I did separate from my husband, there is no assurance Jay will feel the same way. I know she is still recovering from her ex, and maybe she just sees me as a friend, or perhaps she has been what I needed to see I deserve more. Or do I continue with my husband? Really try to make it work, even though I I feel like I've tried everything and things improve for a week or two, but revert to the same old ways. Do we have a baby? Would it bring us closer? Oh, I don't know. I'm so sorry for rambling, but I am at a loss. I have no one I can confide in about this, so even one small comment could help me right now. I will try to answer any questions. Thank you. Info. I have tried to communicate with him multiple times that I am unhappy with our life. We attempted counseling 3 times, but each time he quit, saying it's a waste of money and that he's content. I have literally begged him to do some of the things I enjoy and to fulfill some of my needs. He might try for a week or two, at most a month, before we return to the same old routine. Update. A lot has occurred over the past couple of weeks, but overall, I believe things are moving in a positive direction. I wanted to express my gratitude to all for your advice, both good and bad. It truly helped propel me to where I am now. I sat down and had a talk with B the following evening. It turned into a very long night. The gist of it was that I told him I wasn't happy and explained why, mentioning that I hadn't been for a very long time. He pretty much dismissed everything I had to say. Some of his notable lines included, "Why can't you just be happy? All you do is complain," and referring to the birthday incident. I've proved how sorry I am. It wasn't that big of a deal. He refused to return to therapy, insisting it was a waste of time and money. I felt like I wasn't getting through to him at all, and eventually confessed that I had started to develop feelings for someone else. He immediately assumed I had slept with someone and lost his temper. He had been drinking quite heavily by this time and smashed a few items in anger. To be honest, it scared me. It took me a long time to convince him I hadn't slept with anyone, and when I felt like he was listening to me again, I explained that my feelings had developed purely from someone who was meeting my emotional needs, the needs he hadn't met for the past 5 years, and listed specific examples. I don't know if it was due to the alcohol, but he became incredibly nasty. He called me names, continued to break things, accused me of sleeping with people, and then started grabbing my stuff and throwing it around, seemingly to imply I should pack up and leave. I called my mom to pick me up. My decision was solidified. I was done. With or without Jay, I was done. I've been staying at my mom's ever since. My family went to collect my belongings. B has been bombarding my phone with a mixture of insults and pleas, begging me to return and promising he'll do anything, but he revealed everything important within the first half hour of our conversation. The past 11 days have felt surreal, but overall, I am at peace with my choice. My friend, who is a solicitor, is assisting with the legal matters. Now, on to Jay. She has been both supportive and kind. I almost shared my feelings with her a few times, but she has her own news. Her ex-girlfriend has been attempting to reconnect to see if they can give their relationship another try. Jay's ex is proposing either to come to the UK or for both of them to move to NZ. I'm unsure where Jay's mind is in all this. I do know that she is hesitant for various reasons, and I'm uncertain if I'm one of them. I really want to take my chance, but I am absolutely terrified. I firmly believe there is something between us. I just don't know. Should I just tell her, or should I step back and let the situation with her ex run its course? Update. I have to admit, I was somewhat surprised to discover 360 of you are following me. I've received numerous kind messages, filled with encouragement and wholesomeness. I just wanted to express my gratitude. I've also gotten many requests for an update. I thought I should wait until I had more significant news, but for now, I hope this will suffice. My ex-husband has taken it upon himself to tell everyone that I am pregnant and that I've ruined his family. His mother even showed up at my parents' place to beg me to reconsider for the sake of her grandchild. I am not pregnant. Never have been. I've avoided social media and rarely use it, but apparently I'm being talked about extensively. Honestly, I really don't care at this point. It will be clear there is no baby soon enough. I've had lots of support from my friends, and they have been defending me wherever necessary. I've also heard that he's been celebrating his release from his quote, boring dead marriage, partying hard with plenty of photo evidence. I even received a message from an unknown number saying he had slept with a woman or two in Amsterdam on a stag event he'd attended a few years ago. Who knows? Seems I'm discovering quite a lot. The messages begging me to come back have also ceased since my running away with the baby escapades. Anyway, enough about him. Oh, and for those of you who are curious, I am in therapy. Always have been throughout this entire saga. Also, when I told B everything, I had asked him multiple times to please stop drinking because it was important, and he refused. I didn't purposely wait for him to get drunk beforehand. I digress. Jay invited me for dinner at her place the other evening. I haven't seen much of her in the last week with everything that's been happening. I had a few days off work to sort some stuff out, so this was the first chance I'd had for a proper catch-up with her. I decided to tell her how I felt. In an ideal scenario, I would have liked to have taken more time to allow things to unfold naturally and over time. I know jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire is not ideal, and yes, I agree. I do need time to figure out who and what I like and am, but time is not on my side at this point, and I do not want to live the rest of my life thinking, what if there could have been something with this person? And so, I wrote her a letter. I was extremely nervous, and she could tell. She asked me what was up, and I took a few big gulps of wine and asked her if she would mind if I read something to her. She agreed. My hands were literally shaking, and for some reason I got really choked up, but I took some deep breaths and got through it. The gist of it was, I thanked her for all the support and kindness she had shown me over the last 7 months, and for showing me that I deserved so much more than what I was settling for. I also expressed that I truly wanted her to experience happiness, and regardless of her choices, or where she planned to go, I just hoped she would discover her joy because she deserves it, and no matter what, she would always be welcome in my life, and I wished we would always remain wonderful friends. I mentioned that I wished I had more time, but I needed to tell her something because, if I didn't, I would always regret it. I explained that she had made more of an impact on my life than she could have ever realized, and that I might be completely off base here, but that I had feelings for her, that I wasn't sure if I was merely blinded by her kindness and love because I had been so deprived of it. However, for me, it felt extremely real. I apologized if I had completely misunderstood, and regardless of whether whether she felt something in return, I would be completely at peace with whatever she decided. I will forever be thankful for the lessons our friendship has taught me and the growth that has allowed me to begin my new chapter. This has been the greatest gift. When I had finished reading, I could actually feel my heartbeat in my head and my hands were trembling. I finally gathered the courage to meet her gaze and her eyes were full of tears. She gave me a huge hug and said, "That was the nicest thing anyone had ever said." We both just cried for a while. I kept saying repeatedly, "It's fine if you don't feel the same way," because I started to feel incredibly vulnerable. She kept hugging me and then made enough distance between us so we could make eye contact, and she said, "Well, this really complicates things because I feel the same way." I literally thought my heart was going to burst. We hugged a bit more and made a few silly jokes to lighten the mood. Reddit, I was a mess. Comparing experiences, it appeared that she had developed a crush around the same time, but also never wanted to cross any boundaries. Whenever anything related to B came up, she stayed well away and remained impartial, always trying to encourage him to join us on any outings, etc. She also mentioned that when her ex reconnected to attempt getting back together, she was very tempted to go as her feelings for me grew stronger, and she never thought I would be interested being straight and just out of a marriage. She saw leaving as a good chance to create that distance from her emotions. She also shared that deep down, she doesn't want to return to her ex because there is a lot of hurt there. When Jay's dad passed away suddenly, Kay, her ex, wouldn't come to the UK to support her, which she doesn't think she can forgive her for. She also doesn't feel ready to leave her remaining family for a long time, if ever. It was a truly beautiful, wonderful evening. We basically stayed up talking for the rest of it, quite a few tears and lots of hugs. We agreed to take things extremely slow. This is very new territory for me, and she understands I have a lot going on, as does she. She is soon leaving work as it's a temp job, but she has something else lined up. She invited me to our first proper date next week. I am so excited. We have been messaging nonstop. I literally feel like a giddy teenager. Once again, thank you Reddit for everything. The responses from the posts gave me a lot of courage and so much help. Thank you.